Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Rise of the Tomb Raider. So it's been quite a long journey, but we're kind of at the final point. If I'm recalling correctly, we've done 100% of almost everything. There is clearly a tomb that we haven't done yet, and it's in an area, I believe, that we haven't reached yet. Either that or there's simply an instance of there being some tomb that unlocks after the main story. We're going to go through the secret passage. I don't think it's going to cross us through here. I think it's going to cross us probably through here to the Lost City. And it's pretty much all story now. This is the passage of the Deadless. You can see that they had a secret tomb, a secret underground passage here. They're stockpiling weapons. There's no collectible or map or anything. There was a document to collect over here, but it turned out that was in the crypt over there, so I think we're just going through here. Now, as for skills, I have like all of them, but it is worth pointing out I only have 43 out of 143 achievements. There's so many extra sections of gameplay that have been crammed into this game after we do the story mode. That we're gonna have to look at some of that, but I doubt I'll play very much. Now, if this is called the Orrery, we're gonna walk through here and see a scale model of the solar system. That's what an Orrery is. And I don't see a scale model at all, so either they're using the word in a different meaning, or we will see it later. Let's see, I suppose I cannot get up there. And then, as long as it's still green, I think we're cool. Might even be able to get another one. There, yeah. You kind of have to get the angles right. We're in a new section. We've gotten one of 3 survival caches. There's one codice, which is new. I don't believe we've collected any codices up to this point. And 1 mural and 2 more survival caches. As far as salvages and things, I don't think we're gonna get everything. There definitely is an achievement specifically designed to attacking Trinity enemies or some kind of enemies that just wander around after the game happens. Which I suppose is just more evidence that this game is not done, is not going to be satisfied with you just finishing the story. It's going to want you to do more. This one's a little bit more difficult to pull off. And notice how all the arrows just always are perpendicular to the wall. More of this awkward jumping. And over here is a explorer satchel. I probably should have used the grapple hook even for that short jump. Secrets revealed. We now know that the next survival cache is this way, and we know we haven't missed anything. Probably. Now we have to do our due diligence, as the game is hitching up a little bit there. it's gotten hitchier as we get later into the game, which is
I just have to catch my breath for a moment.
To happen
this place,
in games.
Kitezh, Jacob, the Deathless Ones. I've been running so fast for so long, I haven't stopped to acknowledge the simple fact that all of this is real. A part of me can't believe it. But I know Jacob was telling the truth. Whatever made him is here, and I'm going to find it before Trinity. I only wish Dad was alive to share in this discovery.
So, adrenaline and strong medicines don't actually add an ability. Rapid crafting doesn't add an ability. The only thing that we're missing is the purchase of the grenade launcher with coins, and all of these just increase the area. There's an achievement for killing, I believe, 5 enemies with 1 glass cloud. You probably would need that ability to do that. There's still a need for 14 more pelts to finish out our equipment upgrades. I'm not really sure that any of those are really necessary. You saw, as far as compound bows, we've done everything. But as far as recurve bows, there's more pelts needed. As far as guns, we need more spare parts. And I imagine that is the exact same case. Spare parts and pelts throughout all the weapons. And finding the chromite ore doesn't strike me as something that's even that useful. It is needed for some small number of upgrades, but hardly the vast majority. I would have preferred to be able to trade or sell the chromite ore for spare parts, but that's just not how it works. Moving forward. Last episode we found out Jacob was the Deathless Prophet, which only hurts the case for Jacob and for Lara Croft liking him, particularly when you think about the fact that he, at least in part, was running the torture enslavement camp for all of their criminals, and he also used the divine source to make the Deathless Warriors and was a very warlike, basically religious warlord in the past. So maybe he got better later on, but he's got some history to account for.
Amazing.
I wonder if maybe they meant to call this Avery. And Avery would be a place where you keep birds instead of an
Jacob,
orb.
I'm heading in. What will I find down here?
My people haven't been down there since we sealed it off, centuries ago. But it should be safe, at least until you make it past the orrery.
Was it part of the observatory?
It was built by my astronomers, before the Deathless buried the old city. You'll need to use it to open the entrance to Kitezh.
So, the Deathless basically don't listen to him anymore, apparently. I guess that's what you have to take away from that. And this is such a linear passageway. You're just prepared. Should prepare for enemies to stand up. These clearly are not the Deathless. Well, if they are, they're gonna rise up when I take some action. And the camera clearly wants me to look this way. However, the destination clearly wants me to go this way. Seems like the game is in contradiction with itself. I see a bridge. I see things painted on the wall. But that's not any orrery I've ever seen. And you just get XP for walking into a new area. Map-wise, we're in a new section, so like the mural and the codex are the only thing we're even going to have to worry about, and I imagine we won't even need to worry too much about either one of them. I bet we walk right in front of them for storyline reasons. Seems like there's nothing here, so we'll make this jump. And this is so you can go back down. I mean, back up. And let's see how that slide works for us. It'll work fine. Another 50 experience for getting to this point.
This is extraordinary.
Now that looks like an orrery.
Let's see how this thing works.
It had to be thought through so that it's actually more functional, not just a pile of gears, as most of them are. This
looks like I can pull that into place.
Here's the thing, if this is supposed to be a puzzle, I would need to know some key factors. It wasn't too long ago that I played a game that wanted me to put marbles in the order of the solar system, but the marbles weren't normal, so Earth wasn't blue per se, and this looks like there's several Earths. I think Earth was pink, and so you just needed to know the size of the planets, and I imagine I can get 60, 70, even 80% of the way there without looking it up, but there was no point in the game to help anybody.
Got to get that into the right position.
Usually orreries don't have multiple planets, and this doesn't play into any kind of thematic storytelling because I hear sound playing. Apparently, while you're crawling on this, you cannot pull out your bow. So, everything should be in place first. Is that gonna work? These things really only turn towards you. There's no way to push them away. I could switch this in the opposite direction, I suppose. But I don't know what that would solve. Or help. This passage doesn't change. So I'm just going to leave everything as it is. And if this is anything like any of the previous instances of gameplay, there's not a lot happening as far as actual puzzles. I think this needs to be turned twice. Yeah. So, while we're at it, let's go ahead and assume that this needs to be turned twice too. Because that makes more sense. And we get the music that tells us we did it right. Frankly, I just expect a little bit more from my video games. A little bit more actual video game. the poor artist who spent all the time creating something like this and 3D rendering this for it to be less than 5 minutes of a player's experience and really play no part in the story writer's story even. This could have been in any game whatsoever and it would have just as easily worked. And another 25 experience. I have to assume
just have to disengage the mechanism.
That the reason why the game is giving me the experience just for being in places is intentionally designed to ensure I have close to 100% of the experience done. There is a second tier. Yes. I'm pulling backwards and nothing's happening. So instead of pushing forward, I would not have anticipated that. Some symbols here. They seem like a lot of them are like horoscope symbols more than Latin symbols.
There's another lock on the other side.
On the other side over here there's a lock. And I guess the idea is you unlock that lock and then things will start spinning. There's a mural that could have been easily missed.
The Mongols destroyed everything in the city, sank beneath the ice.
Greek is still at level 7. No real surprise there. There is a supply cache, but it's up higher in that way. I certainly don't mind video games thinking vertically like this, but it almost always never seems to work out.
Jacob's people were ahead of their time.
Interesting, the fan blade there broke off. Am I not moving fast enough, or am I moving where I shouldn't move? Okay, that worked that time. You can see a lot of lights.
Just got to make it to the top now. Got to time it just right.
There we go.
Patience, Lara.
Am I supposed to drop
now!
down here? And then jump over here. Thank goodness my senses are telling me what to do.
Just got to keep climbing.
So, just climb up this. This would have been nice to have a sequence like this where someone else went up first. For instance, Jacob. And I suppose we're going to learn a secret or a new skill. Not even sure what it would be. The bright light, just poor animation decision.
A codex.
That right there.
This one speaks of the advanced archery skills developed in Byzantium.
So classically trained. Increase the number of arrows that can be rapidly shot without withdrawing the quiver to 30. So that very well may be a skill I already had. And they just wanted to ensure that everybody else had it. I can't go any further than this. This would be a great time to use our broadhead ability. Don't we have that? I thought we had a broadhead ability. Well, I can shoot it. Let's see if this works. Yeah. So. I suppose I'd have to come all the way over to the survival gear. Broadhead climbing arrows. Because I can't look at skills. I know I got a skill where I could just immediately put the broadhead in the wall without having to shoot it. But it's not listed here, so maybe I didn't unlock that. Hunter skills, triple shot, simultaneously fire up to 3 arrows at separate locked targets while zoomed in. Increase the number of arrows that can be rapidly shot without redrawing from the quiver to 3. Arrow climbing. Press Y mid-jump to jam climbable broadhead arrows. Right. So, this Y. And this and Y. And that worked. And that worked way too well. I cannot see if there is supposed to be something up there. To me it seems like there isn't. And if it doesn't work the first time, just don't worry because you'll bounce up and you can hit Y a second time.
Elf. The old city is close.
Yeah, I imagine that there really isn't too much here. And we've collected 100% of everything. So we're never coming back to this section. That was the Ori. A slightly disappointing, not really connected to the story experience.
Lara, we're on the mountain above the glacier.
Can you see Trinity?
Yes, they're beginning their operation.
I'm entering the old city now. Listen, Sophia, don't attack them too soon.
We'll give it some time. I'll contact you again soon.
Sophia still could be a bad guy. But I've suspected almost everybody of being a bad guy, and none of them have proven to be, actually.
Cold gnawed at me, and I
don't think there's a twist
even
in
as
this
I saw the
game,
Prophet's
really.
people camped on the ridge of a
Besides
strange
Joseph.
green valley. One foot after the other, sword in hand, I trudged on. I meant to charge. Battle cry on my chapped lips, when consciousness fled and I collapsed into the arms of heretics. They know who I am. They have been expecting Trinity. They do not have much. But they fed me, kept me warm until I could walk again. The Prophet told me I could leave whenever I desire, but they have taken my blades, even armed. I do not know that I could kill this man. I have failed the order. I have failed myself, but I live.
So, speaking of twists, what if it was actually the case that Joseph has some kind of magical influence on people? he certainly seems to be able to convince people to do quite a lot. So perhaps Lara is being manipulated also. There's nothing here. This pathway locked. Good news is we now know where, well, I don't know actually, there's only one challenge and 3 documents and 1 relic. What's the challenge here? Enemy of my enemy. 0 of 6 signal braziers lit. We'll see if we can find those. Now there is an achievement in the game, in Steam, for killing a deathless one, whatever that actually equates to. So you know that this isn't going to be a 100% stealth experience when we start interacting with the enemies again. I doubt we'll run into any Trinity soldiers at this point. Maybe a few at the very end. Maybe deathless ones and Trinity soldiers combined. That's what happened in the previous game. This is another one of those sections where you would have thought the camera would have taken control, but it didn't. This is almost just bringing you full circle from the beginning of the game. We were in Syria. And how quickly can we scale? Like, literally there was a scene like this in the previous They are speaking, that should be good news. At least they're not mindless zombie killer creatures. I guess I'm capable of ice climbing this. I kind of have to wonder if Crystal Dynamics or Square Enix actually even paid much of a writer to write a story for this game. It's so bit for bit similar to the previous one. It's ridiculous. And it's not... It doesn't make a lot of sense. This is a slightly interesting cinematic experience. We haven't seen this before. So this puts us in a different place map-wise? Not really. It just tells us we're gonna take a little bit longer to get to where we were going. We get an interesting reflection of ice on the ground. Let's see. There's a platform there, and that looks like that is a hub. Let's see. That looks like that's a campfire. And these statues don't even fully make sense. They don't look like Jacob at all. They look like they've made their own false god statues, which wouldn't make a lot of sense. Let's climb a little bit this way before we get up to this. I guess maybe this is supposed to be Jacob or some other people. Am I gonna grab his lips? I guess I am. It feels like I could probably just not do anything. and the Deathless ones would defeat Trinity. All I feel like I actually need to do is probably slip past him, get to the Divine Source, and kill anybody that gets close to it. If anybody even makes it that far. Of course, Lara, storyline-wise, will want to actually see the Divine Source, and maybe that will be a problem, maybe it won't. They have been handing me experience, but I still heavily question whether I'll get enough skill points to get everything here. It feels like you're gonna have to play the game after you're done playing the game. There is an achievement for playing with the revolver and getting 6 kills and 6 shots. Let's put that as our item, and let's see if we could actually do that. Like 6 shots without reloading as a challenge. I don't know why I'm particularly taking on any of these challenges though. Like I said, there's still 100 more. Many of them were built around multiplayer things that I probably can't do. And we were at 77%. I wouldn't be surprised if we're all as far as 80, maybe even 81% now. So yeah, 80%. We're about just 30 minutes shy of what I would guess is 25 hours of gameplay doing the single player experience. It's been very long for not that great of a game, really. It's a AAA average game, or maybe even slightly worse than average game. Something that if people scaled things from 0 to 10 fairly in games, you would give this like a 5 or a 4. But because video games really only get scaled between 7 and 10, I'm sure this came out as a solid 7. But nothing special here. Nothing to really justify making a sequel. If it really had just taken them a couple more years to make Rise of the Tomb Raider and improve upon it and add some new features, put some polish on the gameplay features that already existed. It seems like some elements or mechanisms in this game run as good, if not worse, than the previous game. And there's just seems like there's nothing new. And if you were just going to give me a short expansion in the original Tomb Raider reboot, why not just give it as DLC or a standalone short experience? Why make it so long and drawn out? Why put in the multiplayer? Why put in the arduous skill system and the collecting and the hunting? Like, we're gonna have to eventually get down to the point where players just reject games with hunting systems completely because there will be just so many of them that have it. Anyways, that's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.